What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again for another daily Manchester City transfer update. Before I do crack on with today's update, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, then do subscribe to my channel. It is free to subscribe. I'm going to keep you guys up to date every single day with all the latest Manchester City transfer news. So if you haven't already, do subscribe. It is free. Also, don't forget, social media links are in the description if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description, so if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on today's video. We're aiming for 300 likes, and do let me know your thoughts as well in the comments below. So we've got no contract news, but we do have some house news, so we're going to dive straight on in with that. We've got the very latest on Callum Doyle. Now, Jack Gaughan has said that Manchester City received a bid of £6.5 million this week from Hoffenheim over in Germany, which Manchester City have rejected. There's plenty of interest in Callum Doyle, so I presume Manchester City are rejecting this bid because they're confident that they're going to be able to get more money for him. Now, Udinese are a team that have been mentioned from Italy, along with Hoffenheim from Germany has been interested in Callum Doyle. Apparently there's several English teams also interested in bringing in Callum Doyle this summer. Remember, Doyle does want a permanent move away from Manchester City, so Manchester City will be looking to try and sanction a sale, and judging off the facts that we're looking at £6.5 million as the opening bid, I imagine City are probably going to be angling here towards more than double-digit million figure, so north of £10 million when it comes to the potential sale of Callum Doyle. But again, things like bonuses and add-ons, sell-on fees, buyback clauses, these are very important when it comes to Man City selling high-quality young players like Callum Doyle. So we'll see what does happen, and we'll see if there's any more bids and any more interest from any other teams other than the opening offer coming in from Hoffenheim. Now, moving on, we've got the very latest on Claudio Echeverri, and Jack Gaughan has said that Lyon were interested in signing Echeverri until they were relegated to Ligue 2 for financial reasons. Now, they wanted to bring in, that's Lyon, they wanted to sign Juma Bar, but he decided he wanted to go on loan to OGC Nice instead, which is set to be completed, and that's going to be done and dusted. It does mean, as per the agreement that took Ryan Cherki to Manchester City from Lyon, that Lyon are going to get a Manchester City player on loan. And up until then being relegated a couple of days ago due to financial reasons, it's looking like Claudio Echeverri was going to be that player that they are interested in bringing in. But with Lyon being relegated, it now means that that's going to be off the table. And if there is going to be a player going on loan to Lyon from Manchester City, it's more than likely going to be a player playing in the EDS. This is all to do with player development. Man City will want players going out on loan, experiencing the biggest and best leagues possible, and with it being the second division in France, Man City would want a player that, that basically their level right now is the second division in France, rather than a player who's far too good to be playing in that league. And Claudio Echeverri, of course, a fantastic, phenomenal young talent, wants to be playing in one of the biggest and best leagues. Now, if it had been Lyon playing in Ligue 1, I'm sure Manchester City would have seriously considered that, but Ligue 2, not so much. Anyway, moving on, we've got some updates on the goalkeeping situation at Manchester City, and Ederson has done an interview with The Athletic, and he has confirmed that all rumours around him are fake. 99% of the rumours are fake is what he's saying, and that he's focused on Manchester City and trying to win the big trophies once more with Manchester City, and has committed to say that this summer he will be staying at the club, which I think is absolutely massive news. Now, with Ederson only having 12 months left on his Manchester City contract, we do want further clarity on this. Ederson seemingly happy to stay for at least another season. The question is he happy to stay for longer than then 12 months? And if we can tie Ederson down to a new long-term contract, I think that would be a fantastic bit of business that Manchester City could get sorted, because we're still facing a very problematic goalkeeping situation where both Ederson and Ortega's contracts are up at the same time next summer. So we could lose both goalkeepers and lose both of them for free, which is not an ideal situation. So we do want clarity on this. Ederson staying is fantastic news. What I would like to see is Ederson on a new contract. It would mean that Diogo Costa wouldn't come to Manchester City, and it does mean that potentially, that kind of just rules that one out right there and then with Ederson signing a new contract. But if he's only happy to stay for one more season, then it'd be nice to have some clarity on that for Ederson to say, look, I'm going to be staying for the remainder of my contract, but after that, I'm going to be open and I'm going to be looking to try and move. Kind of like Bernardo Silva. I'm not expecting Bernardo Silva to sign a new contract. We already kind of have the clarity on that. We all expect that. And it would be nice to have a similar situation here with Ederson, where if he's not going to sign a new deal, this isn't going to be dragged on. We know what's going to happen, and we know that we're going to have Ederson for at least another 12 months, which leads us very nicely onto an update on Stefan Ortega Moreno, because Rob Dawson at ESPN has spoken with Ortega about his future, and Stefan Ortega hasn't gone anywhere near as far as what Ederson has said, with Ederson saying that he's going to be staying at Manchester City this summer, because Ortega says he doesn't want to speak about the future. It's too early to talk about that, and he doesn't want to speak about the future, which after Ederson's already confirmed today about him staying at Manchester City, I'm going to suggest that this is very much Stefan Ortega Moreno being very coy on his future, and arguably I can suggest that potentially this is Ortega saying that he's open to leaving Manchester City, and if it's not going to be this summer, he's not going to be signing a new contract, and he will be leaving upon the expiry of his contract next summer. So if he's not going to be staying at Man City in the long term and he does want to leave, then whilst we can get some cash for him and some clarity on the future, if I was City, I'd look to get that done sooner rather than later and get that sorted this summer rather than next summer, because that allows us 12 months here to potentially have a look at, if we know Ederson's not going to sign a new contract, then we could still go out in this transfer window and bring in a player who's got the potential to be City's number one. I'm not going to suggest that Diogo Costa wants to sit on the City bench for 12 months. He's Portugal's number one. He's not going to want to do that. The question here would be, is he happy to wait 12 months? And what angle do Man City want to go down? Because I'm going to be doing a stream on this tomorrow as for my transfer show, if you want to go and check that out. I've already got the link on my channel if you want to go and set your reminders. Going live at 3 p.m. BST tomorrow, where for me, I'm looking at high-quality English players, homegrown players, because I'm looking at a potential solution here to Manchester City's non-homegrown problem. And letting Ortega leave this summer and bringing in a homegrown goalkeeper would make a lot of sense, because it just means one more player needs to leave City in this summer transfer window who's non-homegrown, which would allow Manchester City then to be able to register every single player that they class as around the first-team squad, which would be absolutely brilliant. And as we've already spoken about with Claudio Echeverri, it looks like he's available for loan. So if we sort out a loan for Echeverri and we let Ortega leave and bring in a homegrown goalkeeper, then all of a sudden everybody can be registered both for the Premier League and the Champions League, and we've not got any problems for the next 12 months when it comes to registrations. It would make a lot of sense. So you may be thinking, well, what goalkeeper is going to be available for City to bring in as a second choice? I'm looking directly towards one of the best high upcoming goalkeepers in English football and arguably in the world, in the form of Burnley's goalkeeper James Trafford, former Manchester City goalkeeper, of course, who was sold to Burnley, who we could very easily bring back to the club. It's a very easy transfer as far as I'm concerned. The question would be, because Trafford is on the cusp of the England squad, is he prepared to wait 12 months at the potential of him maybe missing out on a spot at the World Cup with England, when he could have further first-team guarantees both with Burnley and with other Premier League teams and other clubs, I'm sure, across Europe as well. But if he waits 12 months and we've got Ederson leaving, then James Trafford could be playing in every League Cup game, every FA Cup game. Every time Ederson's on international duty, James Trafford can be coming in and ensuring that he's nailing down the potential of being Man City's future number one goalkeeper. And for me, it ticks a lot of boxes, and to me, it makes a lot of sense. It sorts out registration problems and non-homegrown and homegrown problems, a high-quality young goalkeeper. For me, it makes a lot of sense as far as I'm concerned. And the question here is, would the keeper, James Trafford, be keen on doing this if, of course, Ortega does leave, which I'd argue that, to me, it's well within Man City's best interest that if a player doesn't want to be here, why wait 12 months for the expiry of the contracts? That, we can let them go if they're not that committed. And it seems like Ortega doesn't want to commit to Manchester City, maybe got one eye on the exit door, and if he's got one eye on the exit door, then we may as well let Ortega leave this summer so he doesn't have to prolong his own career and everybody can move on, both for the clubs involved and also the player. So very much a developing situation. It wasn't really the development I was expecting when it came to goalkeepers, because I was near enough certain that if there was any keeper leaving this summer, I'd have thought it would have been Ederson and a move to Saudi Arabia, but Ederson's ruled it out yet. Ortega not ruling out a potential exit out of City this summer, which means City may need another backup goalkeeper, a new number 2 goalkeeper. Who could that be? Let me know in the comments below. Now, moving on to the ins, got a very quick update on Rodrygo, who was speaking about in yesterday's transfer update, and Jack Gaughan, the buzzkill, has killed the rumours of Rodrygo to Manchester City from Real Madrid. He says that Manchester City have denied any and all interest coming in for Rodrygo, and they said any interest coming in is very much being pushed from Real Madrid's end or Rodrygo's end, or both Rodrygo and Real Madrid's end, not from Manchester City's end. And Jack Gaughan, very reliable with City information, saying at the moment all quiet on that, despite reports coming in from Spain and these continued reports of saying Rodrygo to Manchester City. I don't think there's any secret that Rodrygo wants a move to Manchester City, but there's a big difference between a player wanting to go to a club and that club actually making a move, and I just can't see Manchester City making that move. Rodrygo, of course, a 24-year-old Brazilian attacker from Real Madrid. Arsenal in the Premier League being heavily linked with a move for Rodrygo right now. So there we go. That has been today's transfer update. If you did enjoy this video, please do leave a thumbs up. 300 likes is the aim. Also, don't forget to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Ortega, if he does leave City this summer, who should be City's new backup goalkeeper? Do let me know in the comments below. Don't forget as well to subscribe. I'm going to keep you guys up to date every single day here on YouTube with all the latest City transfer news. So if you haven't already, do subscribe. It is free. Now less than 200 subs away from my aim of 45,000 subscribers. So any help towards that would be great. Also, don't forget social media links. They're in the description if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. And I'll see you all again religiously tomorrow for the next daily Manchester City transfer update. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now. Also, nice to be back in the JSGC HQ.